Hey everyone, hope this finds you well. So back, lots to share with you, lots and lots to share with you. Um, Hope this really does find you well. So we had an incredible trip, something that still today I am digesting for many reasons, and really excited to where it potentially can take us as we go forward. And for many, many reasons, and some of them as we go forwards will become clearer to you all. But I want to thank all of you that wished us well for the trip. It was a great, incredible, amazing trip. A real kind of opportunity to kind of recharge the batteries as well. But importantly, an experience that I believe will stay with us for a very long time. Actually, in fact, probably forever. And one that I shall treasure, that's for sure. I want to thank you all that wished us well, also for the many questions that have come in over the last couple of weeks. Those questions that have come in via our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and some that have also come in via email. I really want to thank all of you. So one of the questions that's come in only a couple of days ago, very poignant, that actually when we explore it, it's going to bring up probably even more questions, which is really, really exciting. The other thing is, it's very poignant to the story that I'm going to share today. It's very interconnected, actually. For me, it's very interconnected. One of our wonderful subscribers, I'm just going to find that now. One of our wonderful subscribers, Bridget Eve. Bridget Eve went on to say, have a great trip, Shane. Please bring us back a really great story. So I'm going to share a story with you. I'm also going to explore this very interesting question. Okay, the question come in via Deborah Hurst. So before we explore it, I'm going to place it. Okay, I'm going to share it with you. And whilst I'm sharing the story, just kind of give it a thought. See how it sits with you. What comes to mind? What do you feel about it? Okay, how does it speak to you? What do you think about this? What do you feel about it? So the questions come in from a YouTube channel from a lady called Deborah Hurst, and it's actually coming via the video, "The 5 Signs Spirit Want to Talk to You." Okay, Deborah has gone on to say, "Hi Shane, how do you tell the difference between spirit guides and your higher self? How do you tell the difference between spirit guides and your higher self?" Phenomenal, fantastic, brilliant question. We're going to get our teeth into that very shortly. Okay, but before we do, and before we start the story, is something else I want to share with you guys. So a little while ago, I had the most wonderful lady who's gone to be a really incredible friend share with me. She kind of turned around and said, "You know what you are? You are a spiritual gangster," and it absolutely made me laugh at the time. But in a way, it just naturally turned into a hashtag, and we've been having some fun here, kind of exploring that, having some fun playing around with that. Take a look at this and see what you think. Spiritual gangster. High vibrational living. You know, for me, all of this is about high vibrational living. You know, it's a way of life. You know, and sometimes people say to me, "Shane, how does the spiritual aspect weave together with the adventuring?" Well, it really truly does. You know, it's those outward journeys that we take that take us very much on an inward journey, and those people that I've been honoured to kind of share any time with in any form, you know, it's always felt like a journey. It's felt like we've taken a journey together. So for me, you know, spirit meets adventure says it all. But importantly, it's about a way of life. It's not just something you do, it's a way of life. And for me, you know, I remember Spirit saying, you know, it's high vibrational living. You know, that it's an attitude, it's an approach, It's a way of life. So high vibrational living, spiritual gangster, high vibrational living with the website underneath. What do you think of those? Um, what do you think? Love to hear your feedback. Love to hear your thoughts. For me, you know, the mountains being in there as well, and it kind of being black and white, it's kind of simple, uncomplicated. You know, there's layers and layers and layers of information there, really. Um, but importantly, it's those outer journeys that kind of enhance the inner journeys, and the inner journeys that enhance the outer. You know, it's a journey. And that to me is what Spirit Meets Adventure is about. It's about being a guide along the journey of life. And it's about taking those journeys and about sharing the stories along the way. So, love to hear your thoughts about the t-shirt. Is it something that you would like to purchase? If we can kind of tweak some of the logistics around it, i.e. postage and such, would it be something that you'd be interested in purchasing? Would you like one of these t-shirts? Love to hear your thoughts. So, okay, getting on to the story, okay? So Bridget said, please bring back a story, okay? Please bring back a good story. Well, hopefully that's in exactly what we've done. But before we do, I'm going to read you a post from a very good friend of mine. And this, to me, really struck a chord for my latest experience, our latest experience on the trip we've just had. And I'll explain why. All links can be found within this video as well. So links to Matt's social media. Matt's the guy that I'm going to share the post from. Matt's social media, profound healer, by the way. Very profound. Someone that kind of always leaves you with a lot to think about. Incredible guy. And also our Facebook page and our Instagram account. Okay, so you find a lot of the adventuring aspects on our Instagram account. So here's his post. Okay, all roads lead somewhere. If we all knew what the future held, would we do things differently now? One thing is certain, that the energy that surrounds us is always with us, gently guiding us along the way. There's a shift coming for all. Learn to trust a little bit more than you already do. There's a shift coming for all. Learn to trust a little bit more than you already do. Okay, profound, okay? All roads lead somewhere. And I think that's a really, really important point. How many times have you stood at a crossroads, not sure what to do? I think that we do have a knowing. I think there's an inbuilt compass in there that kind of almost magnetizes us to go left or right or straight on. But you know, naturally we doubt, naturally we overthink it, naturally we can overcomplicate it. So all roads lead somewhere. If we all knew what the future held, would we do things differently? You know, how many times, you know, I know I've said to somebody, you know, if you could go back and change anything, would you? So many times people have said, no, I wouldn't change a thing. Okay, I think that's really, really important, because in a way it shapes us to who we are today. Those experiences mould and shape us to who we are today. One thing is certain, the energy that surrounds us is always with us, gently guiding us along the way. There's a shift coming for all. I think that's absolutely bang on. There is something percolating. There's a kind of change coming. And how many years have we felt that change? But there's a sense of something very solid to that. Learn to trust a little more than you already do. And the post, he put it with one really beautiful picture, which is this long road stretching into the distance, and there was kind of the mountains there, and it was from his recent self-supported cycling trip in Ireland, and he traversed some really huge environments and some big weather, and a lot of that time he was also sleeping out in a bivvy bag. And the times he weren't, he was staying in the most incredible funky places, and a chapel of rest of all places, a playground another time. You know, just incredible experiences, incredible stories. So do check out his links. So all roads lead somewhere. Okay, so this is a story from our recent trip. Okay, we headed off and we were on the cycleway, which was a lot of it was old converted railway, some of it was rider path, some of it was a single track lane. Very, very quiet, very, very kind of gentle. There were parts of it that were undulating and hilly, but just kind of it had a warmth to it. It was kind of quite kind of soft, if that makes sense to you. And there was a warmth to it, but that was the energy of the day. There was a softness, there was a warmth, there was a sense of almost being in a bubble, and I don't say that lightly to you. Okay, so we found ourselves on the cycleway, and we traversed that morning, and we had some, fairly big hills we went over that day, but again there was a gentleness to that. It was an odd feeling, how often do hills feel gentle? This day they did. It was very odd. And we then went off the cycleway onto a bridleway, and what we were doing was going around this loop in the centre of the Isle of Wight. And what we were planning to do was kind of move up and move along, okay, in a larger arc, okay. And we come off this cycleway, and there was this bridle path, and it was going to connect us to where we wanted to go. And we followed it, and the bridle path then narrowed into a very, very tiny kind of trackway that almost narrowed into what was like a footpath that then narrowed onto what was more like an animal track, and then bang, we come across the stile. Now, we've been travelling for some time along this trackway and bridle path, and we were really committed. There was this sense of moving forwards. I can remember this feeling that when we hit the stile, not to retrace our steps, it was this sense of go forwards. It was a strong feeling. So, and I wasn't the only person that had that, and it was like, okay, so we lift the bikes over. Yeah, very, very out of the ordinary. And my bike had a fair bit of weight on it because it was carrying a lot of kit, a lot of our kit. We got all the bikes over, and then there was a sense, well, if we go across the field, there should be another stile, and then we kind of reorientate, and we find our bearings. We went across the field, and you could see where the other stile should have been. There was even a marker, a way marker. It had all been kind of fenced off and tied off. And because there were sheep in the field, we weren't going to undo that. However, we're not sure what happened even to this point. Was it that we made a mistake? Was it that we were redirected physically and literally and energetically? Or was it that the signage was skew with? Or was it that the farmer shouldn't have tied that end point up? What was going on? Now, we're looking around the field and we're scanning for a way out. Yeah, we're looking for this way out. And it was odd. We all kind of looked around the field, and when we looked to the right, we all stood still and we stopped. Not a word said. We look at each other and go, okay. So we then start moving. That's that inner compass, guys. We start moving down the right side of the field, and we get all the way across the field, and we're greeted by a big hedge, blackthorn hedge, and then a fence on top of that, and there was a section of kind of wire across the top of it. Yet when we looked, there was the cycleway, there was the way marker signs, okay, there was the National Cycle Network, and there was the Cycleway Network, and it was like a hub, okay, literally like a hub of signage and a road crossing. And we were like, hold on a minute, we've just been dumped literally the other side of that. and what was in our way was this huge hedge, huge fence. How many times in life have you found yourself the other side of where you want to be? Many times. So we kind of look at that and we think, can we go over it? Can we go under it? Can we go through it? That's where we need to be. How many times in life have you found yourself the other side of where you want to be? I always say to people, check in. Do you need to sleep on this? Do you need to kind of retreat? Do you need to kind of stand still? Can you go over it, under it, or through it? Okay, all roads lead somewhere. Okay, for us, they had literally dumped us the other side of where we want to be, but that was absolutely perfect, as you'll see as we go forward. So okay, we made the decision, collectively we made the decision that we are going to get the bikes over, and that was going to take some kind of some manoeuvring. We would have to climb on a bike to lift the bike over, and the last person over is going to take some effort and take some strength, but we got everyone over, got the bikes over. Me, I had to undo the tent, I had to undo the panniers, get all that stuff off the bike, get that over, and then get the bike over, and then get me literally through the hedgeway. Okay, and that was blackthorn hedge, and that took some strength and effort. Okay, but you know, half an hour or so we were there. Okay, and we're sitting underneath this sign, looking back to where we come from, in complete wow, because it literally dumped us on the cycleway. Now, what was interesting was there was this grace. I remember standing there, the other side of that hedgeway, feeling immensely kind of like in a bubble. There was a grace to it, there was immense calm to it. It was as if it was perfection. Even though we had this obstacle, we were exactly where we should be. It was an odd feeling, which completely got validated, because 5 minutes later, you know, it's getting later in the day, we're all hungry. This guy pulls up, a big bunch of people cycling together, some little ones cycling together, and it was like, "Are you local?" "Yeah, we're local." "Do you know if there's anywhere we can stop for a bite to eat?" And he looked at me a bit bewildered, and he said, "Well, hold on a minute. Where have you come from? Because you would have passed places." And I went to him behind and looked at the hedge, and he laughed. He said, "You're kidding me?" I went, "No. For some reason the cycleway at the top there, right up the top, bottom of that hill over there, and right in the distance, dumped us down here." And he goes, he laughed and he said, "Well, do you know what?" He said, you're literally 2 minutes away from the Peddler's Cafe." Now, Peddler's Cafe is a real famous cafe, incredibly famous cafe, and it was an absolute point of interest that we wanted to all go and visit. Okay, so we've been dumped literally 2 minutes away from it. Okay, now, and what was interesting, the way we were going round, we were in a way going round, and I think our intention was to go around anti-clockwise, but this had pushed us clockwise. Okay, this had pushed us clockwise, and for good reason that we found out. So we pedal down up to Peddlers, we get to a bite to eat, talking to people. It's kind of full of cyclists, a really interesting place, a hub. And we're chatting away, and we're chatting to the people that are serving us, and we asked them, "Do you know if there's a campsite local?" And the owner come over and said, "I can absolutely help you out with that. 2 miles away is a really wonderful campsite. It has an outdoor heated pool, it has all the great facilities you need, really backpacking, bikepacking friendly. That's where their grassroots come from. You'll be really welcome there, and it's really beautifully located, and it's only a couple of miles away. Tell you what, we'll ring them." They passed the number on, and we actually rung them and got ourselves booked in. Okay, perfect. At the beginning of the day, we didn't know where we were going to stay. It was if everything was joining up. Okay, to the point that we're actually returning, and that's where we're going to. And also, it was at the heart of the cycle network, that joined up another part of the island that if we'd gone the way we were, we wouldn't have had any of these experiences. So just sometimes More times than not, it's to know. And as dear Matt says, one thing is certain, that the energy that surrounds us is always with us, gently guiding us along the way. I think the important thing is to try and flow with those experiences rather than kind of resist them, or kind of fight against them. For me, it was so profound that I just sunk into that level of trust, knowing that we'd come so far forwards. There was a sense of keep going forwards, even though we were going over these obstacles, that we'd committed ourselves, that the whole feeling was about going forwards. And then everything fell into place. That's very, very profound, to the point that we arrive at the campsite. Within 20 minutes, we had the tent up. Within an hour, we were able to kind of jump in the heated pool, and then it sprung a whole completely different experience over the coming days, that turn out to be just really, really profound, to the point that we're also going back, so there's going to be a lot more to explore. I really wanted to kind of share that with you, share some of those things with you. Now, what I'd like to do, is the question that Deborah asked: how do you tell the difference between spirit guides and your higher self? I want to explore that as we go forward. So that's going to be our next video, but I wanted to stir up that question for you. And the other thing is, for me, that is so interconnected to the story I've just shared, to the quote that I shared, dear Matt's quote, because that's something that me and him had explored so often, or many times along our journey that we've shared together. Is how can you tell the difference between spirit guides and your higher self? What's your thoughts on that? What's your feelings on that? Is there a difference? Who are our spirit guides? Why are they there? And how comes it's them that are there? What's their relationship to them? Who are they? Are they different to us? Are they separate to us? Is it our higher self? Is it something separate? Many, many questions. But remember, all roads lead somewhere. The next time you're unsure and you're moving forwards, check into how it feels. Importantly for us, it was all about committing, listening to that very subtle but incredibly calm feeling of going forwards. And look how that turned out. It is so profound. It left me feeling really supported. And that is very incredible, and that is very, very special. It's a real pleasure. Love to hear your thoughts on the t-shirt as well. Keep the questions rolling, and look forward to chatting to you all and sharing the next video, which is going to be exploring the question about spirit guides and the higher self. Until then, guys, keep shining, keep being you, and keep growing. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.